I want to thank you all so much for coming this morning. We're very excited to have Ambassador Sumaida'ie here today in Houston. This is a place where he's frequently visited. The Bilateral has hosted him here on 4 or 5 occasions now in his tenure with the embassy. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our sponsors and partners in this event. First of all, Bracewell and Giuliani. They've been an excellent member of the Chamber for a few years now, and are always so gracious to host us here at their offices, and the wide variety of speakers that we've had. Specifically, we've had quite a number of Iraqi events with Bracewell and Giuliani. We also have the Qaderi group here, who have been longtime members of the Chamber and have always been supportive of our Iraqi programs as an Iraqi-American company. And our new member, KBR, who is partnering with us today to host the ambassador. So I would like to thank you all for your support. We have John Brantley with us to open up today's events. John Brantley is a partner at Bracewell and Giuliani. He is also the head of the international section of Bracewell. So would you please join me in welcoming Mr. Brantley?
Thank you, Lucille. It's great to see you again here in our offices. And I'd like to add my welcome to Lucille's. We have been privileged to have a number of events with the Chamber here. And on behalf of the firm, I'd like to extend a welcome to each of you and look forward to seeing you at future events here in our offices. This morning we have a very important briefing on Iraq. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Ambassador Sumaida'ie before he begins his remarks. Mr. Sumaida'ie has served as Iraq's ambassador to the United States since April 2006. He was born in Baghdad, educated in England, where he took degrees in electrical engineering and computing. After his graduation, he returned to Iraq as one of the country's first computer specialists, working at the Baghdad Electricity Board and the Iraqi Petroleum Company before leaving the country in 1973. Ambassador Sumaida'ie had a successful career in international business, working in entrepreneurial ventures in the United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and China. At the same time, he was very busy during his exile. The ambassador was actively involved in opposition efforts in Iraq, co-founding the Association of Iraqi Democrats and later the Democratic Party of Iraq. He eventually served as Minister of the Interior in Iraq, managing a domestic security force of over 100,000, and served as a member of the Governing Council. In July 2004, Ambassador Sumaida'ie was appointed Iraq's permanent representative to the United Nations. His service there led to his appointment in April 2006 as Iraq's first ambassador to the United States in 15 years. Ambassador Sumaida'ie is a true Renaissance man. You may not appreciate his many achievements, including his wide range of cultural interests, which involve calligraphy and writing Arabic poetry in classical form. In one of his poems, the ambassador laments, "The roles were confused and lost their order, and events distorted the pictures we had in our mind." We are fortunate indeed this morning to have the ambassador here to dispel any confusion and distortion that may exist in our minds concerning Iraq. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Sumaida'ie. Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning. I'd like to thank all those who have organized this gathering. I'm always delighted to speak to business people, because I think that is an indication that we are moving in the right direction, because the future for my country lies with not so much with military and security, but with business and the economy. We've come a long way. I joined as an ambassador in Washington in 2006, and those were very dark days. We had a very terrible time in Iraq with violence, almost verging on chaos. People in Washington were beginning to lose hope that Iraq will ever be mended or stabilized. And many people thought at that time the best way for the Americans was to exit the scene and let Iraqis fight it out, as they used to say. I was like a lone voice in the wilderness, arguing that Iraq will not slide into civil war. This was not a civil war. In fact, it was a war on civilians, a war perpetrated by extremists, we had a lot of them, on civilian communities who had no desire to be part of the fight. Iraq was not Northern Ireland or other countries where the communities had enmity towards each other. There is no history of that in Iraq. But kept going, kept explaining this, and as things turned out, particularly after the United States changed its policy and attitude towards Iraq through the surge, you remember that, changed its posture, things started to stabilize, things started to get better, and now I think I can say that the situation is stable, not out of the woods yet. Iraq is by no means a comfortable and secure place to live, but it is very much forward-looking. It has tremendous opportunities, and looking into the future, I think with the improved economy, there will be even better stability, and with that, again, an accelerated rate of progress at every level. I used to be accused of being an optimist. I am still an optimist, but and some people say a pessimist is only a well-informed optimist. I think I'm well-informed to know the risks and the dangers. We still have a lot of them. But I think the balance of probability is in our favor. There are political issues which are lingering. But on the other hand, despite the fact these issues are intractable, there is no appetite on the part of any political player to resort to violence in solving these issues. So they might take a long time to resolve, maybe, but the important thing is that we don't have a slide back towards violence and complete instability. In this environment, not perfect, but moving forward, the curve is upward, certainly not downwards. I say that we have now transitioned from a period where security was uppermost to a period in which the economy and construction and rebuilding is the highest consideration. And I coined the phrase that we no longer want or need boots on the ground, we need suits on the ground. And I see a lot of suits here. Iraq used to be viewed as a problem country, and I'll do my best to transform this impression, this image, into an opportunity country. I believe Iraq is really an opportunity country. If you think about it, Iraq over the last 30 years has been through a number of devastating wars. everything is destroyed. Everything. All the infrastructure, you hardly see any pavement that you can walk on. Bridges, roads, hospitals, schools, telecommunication, everything, including the standard of education needs to be improved, the standard of health service needs to be improved. Our security, of course, security institutions have to be rebuilt, army, police, everything. And with that, we need a great deal of equipment, know-how, companies who come in and take part in the reconstruction, training, association with academic institutions. Every aspect of life needs to be supported. And the lucky thing is that we do have the financial resources to fund these activities. We can fuel our reconstruction by oil revenue, and while increased oil prices are not welcome for some, in this country they are not. For us, they are a boon. They are helping us to do this. Of course, our national budget is predominantly, the revenue side is predominantly oil, and on the expense side is predominantly salaries and wages. But this is necessary for now, because giving people jobs and salaries, even if they are not productive, helps to stabilize the country security-wise. But increasingly, as we move from one year to the next, the proportion of investment budget increases, and we want to do more investment on infrastructure and so on. Now, Iraq is still a tough environment for business people. We've gone a long way in improving that environment. Legal requirements, red tape, the interface between business and government has been improved. We created a one-stop shop for investors through the Iraq Investment Commission, and they are doing partners, Kuwaiti partners. I don't think it's possible, there's no law against it, but I think companies would be better served by looking for somebody who knows how to navigate the situation in Iraq. Also, a word for companies who used to get easy pickings contracts from the American military or the American government, some of them even cost plus. Those days are over. You have to deal with the situation in Iraq. You have to adapt to the current situation in Iraq, where there are a lot of actual needs, there are a lot of actual projects, but you need to be there dealing with Iraqis and competing with others. We find tremendous interest in Iraq from some of our neighbors, Turkey in particular. Iran is very active, but further afield, Indians, Chinese, Europeans are all there enthusiastically, and they are there in force. Americans are at the end of the line. We want them to be in front of the line. We want to do business with America. They are the people who sacrificed most, they are the people who invested most, and they are the people that we see our future as partners with. So we want them to be right up there, in the front of the line. Unfortunately, there is a perception that Americans are targeted, that security is very, very risk averse, whereas you see a Chinese business person taking an old taxi and going in Iraq from street to street, going to visit government departments. You very often see American businessmen in a convoy with much security and guns pointing everywhere. Sometimes the low-key approach is the most productive. We keep talking to the State Department here in Washington, and complain about the travel advisory, which is very negative. And the response we get often is that, well, you know, this is a litigious country and we have to protect ourselves. Yet people, sorry to be saying this in being hosted by a firm of lawyers, but people here always worried about being sued. Whereas, you know, if you want to go out there and get work done, you've got to somehow say to the lawyer, well, thank you very much, but we'll ask for your advice when we need it. Let's get on with it. I think that is the attitude exhibited by most of the Europeans. They come, they look for jobs, they identify them, they go after them aggressively, and they do get them. There is a substantial amount of business being done every day. But this is absolutely nothing compared to what will happen in the future. Just looking at the energy sector, Iraq burns natural gas every day at the rate that France and Italy combined consume. This is a crime. It's a crime against the environment. It's a crime against wasting it's a crime against our own people, wasting their resources in this way.